welcome to Gamesoverplastic, an agnostic gamers podcast. I am your host for this week, Hodge, joined by not Midnight nor Sean, but our good buddy Lockmort is here to talk about Season 2, Episode 2. What is it called? Through the Valley, I believe is what it was called. And yeah, so we are here to talk about The Last of Us. And how are you? Thank you also for, again, last minute joining me for this, because my other hosts are MIA. So thank you.
No worries. It's always a delight to see any of you guys. So gladly. I just came home from watching Sinners. Like I just literally came through the door when you texted me. So I'm still in Sinners mode. But I watched the episode this morning, and I'm very excited to talk about it with someone because I really haven't talked with anyone about it yet.
Yeah,
I think.
I'm very excited to see Sinners. I'm gonna see that with my girlfriend later this week. I've heard nothing but like amazing things about that, so I'm so excited to see that movie. But
fantastic,
we're here to talk The Last of Us. And before we move into episode 2, I wanted to read one comment from last week's episode because I want to hear what you guys think about it too. Obviously, we're going to be up here, spewing our thoughts. I want to hear what you guys have to say about this. Like, is it better than the game? Is it worse than the game? What do you guys like about it? So, our buddy Broderick Fleming wrote in and said, I really enjoyed this episode. They're already cleaning up some of the timeline issues, aka the Jackson scenes not being so disjointed, and setting up the big conflict for those who haven't played the game. I kind of hated part 2 at first. I was a strong believer that part 1 ended perfectly and didn't need a sequel, but I've come to love it since then, and I'm really excited to see how Craig Mazin puts his spin on the story along with Neil. So I actually agree with that. We talked briefly before we started recording that my biggest issue for people think I hate Last of Us Part 2. I don't hate it. I just don't love it as much as everyone else. So
sure.
I'm the contrarian. The contrarian to me is like, no. But my biggest issue was the pacing. And so far, I do think they're doing a good job with it. Obviously, we're only 2 episodes in, but I'm hoping that the pacing, I hope Craig Mazin being, a good showrunner, he can be like, here's how we have to pace it for TV to make it flow better.
Sure. Yeah, that's fair. What do you think in the first episode? Because that's the one thing that bothered me a lot in the first episode, where Abby and her whole crew basically already tell the audience what they're gonna do.
See, I did see you in Discord say that you weren't a fan. For me, obviously, we shouldn't, because we know what it is. So we're kind of like, oh, you shouldn't have told us. But I think for people who aren't like knowledgeable of the game, I think it's actually a good move, because in the game, she shows up and does what she does in this episode, and everyone's like, oh, fuck this person. And then they try and get you to see her side. Yeah. But when you see her side out the gate, you can already be kind of on her side. So when, the Joel moment happens, you're like, all right, I get it. I get why she did it. I don't like it, but I get why she did it. And it's that kind of thing. So I think it helps you see her side better by showing her first.
Sure, yeah, that makes sense. That's a great.
So that's what I thought of it. And also I think I love the actress Caitlin Dever, so she's great. I like her as Abby already. So I already like Abby more than I did in the game, because Butch Abby in the game was just like, she was just pissed off all the. I mean, this one is too, but like she puts, I think, I don't know, it just feels different with her, and I hope to see her. I see how she acts more. Though I will say the one thing is I don't see her as like the commanding leader when she's not that big anymore. She's like the shortest one in the crew. So I was like, really? She's demanding everything of everyone. She's this little 5'1" girl. So I don't know. But
that's true.
But yeah, I like her as Abby overall though.
Yeah, she did a great job. Yeah.
Yeah. So other quickly before we get into this episode, since you weren't on obviously last week, what overall, other than that, what'd you like about think of the first episode?
I thought the first episode was great. My only gripe is that I think every change they've made, I think the game does better. But it just depends on your preferences, I guess. I think so far I like what the game did more, just because it treats the audience with more respect, I think, or more intelligence, I should say. While the show is more like, here you go, and shoves it in your face. But
we'll get into it. Yeah, we'll get into it with this episode, but this episode felt a little Walking Dead to me, and I was like, ooh, not great. But but the one thing I did like the change from in the first episode was I loved how they introduced the Stalker. That was awesome.
Oh yeah, that was great.
I loved that, because the Stalkers are such a good idea of like the infected that hide. So, yeah. But let's jump into this episode. So it starts off with a dream sequence of Abby. I feel like was it later in the game that we saw Abby like actually at the hospital doing this stuff?
It was because after Abby does the deed, or after what happens, you don't get back to Ellie. You don't get back to Abby. You play with Ellie for like 12 hours, 13 hours, and
Okay,
after that
yeah.
you get back to Abby. So
Yeah, so it starts off with that, but I thought it was an interesting choice of her, because at first I was confused, like why is she talking to herself, like literally being
yeah,
like, "You're only gonna find his brains," and all. And I was like, "What is going on?" And then you realize it's a dream, and she wakes up. But I thought it was really good, like again, a way to emotion, like show that she has emotion, that she's like a character you want to care about. And so it was really good to like see her breaking down in her dream, like, I know what you're gonna find, and it's horrifying. So she's like, she starts crying to herself, and yeah, I really loved that moment.
the audio design there was really cool because you could hear her open the door. Like when the
Mhm.
shot was on the other one, the one telling her what's going on, you could hear her open the door and find her dad and scream. That was really well
Yeah,
done.
yeah, it was so good. Yeah, so then she wakes up at the cabin, and she's out there being like, they're like, "Oh shit, Jackson's way bigger than I thought it was," which I guess I just this is another thing I liked about this, is that they actually show them at the cabin kind of plotting more than they did in the game, because in
Yeah.
the game it was just, who are these people, why are they here, kind of thing. So it
Hmm.
was kind of cool to see them like, oh shit, I thought it was going to be smaller, but what do we do if we capture some, like, and they kind of were showing that they're not meant to be bad people, but obviously Abby's like, I don't give
Yes.
a fuck.
Yeah. Exactly.
So yeah. But yeah, other than that, yeah, we just got a little more learning of each character in that scene, and it seems like Owen is a little bit more of a leader, but like a reluctant follower of Abby in a
He's
way.
smart.
Like,
Yeah, he's smarter, right? Like he tries to because he tells the others that he wants to convince her not to go through with it, right?
yeah, and so I really like though also that everyone on the crew, I don't know, I feel like they were a little more on her side in the game, whereas in this, it's really
Yeah.
just the Hispanic guy who's really like, fuck all these people, but
Manny.
everyone else
Yeah.
is just like, I don't want to do this. Like, it just
Yeah.
seems a little much, kind
Yeah.
of thing.
There's also two people missing because in the game there's two extra people there, like Jordan and Nick, who aren't here. They just
Oh
don't
yeah.
exist here. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So it's only, I wonder if that's like a, I don't, is that like a thing? Maybe, I don't know, just so each episode, I don't know, maybe each episode's going to be a murder or something. Like, I don't know. Maybe
Probably,
that's,
probably. It were probably crowded too much
yeah.
to what's
So
going to happen. Yeah.
yeah, because I didn't even think about that. Well, I mean, because in the game, aren't like a couple of them already dead? Like by the time she gets there, because Tommy
Yeah.
had already gotten to him.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, which I don't want to spoil the game for people, but
Oh yeah, I forgot. Sorry. Yeah.
yeah, no, it's fine. We know Tommy is going to be in the show more because, well, what happens in a little bit. So, but yeah, so it's just kind of that, and then we cut to Ellie waking up hungover from the night before of the barn dance or whatever they had, and this was very accurate to the game
Yeah.
of Jesse being like, I it made me laugh, even though I knew the line was in the game and stuff, where he just goes, "It's really fucked up you did that though." Like, I really like that, and he does the thing of pretending not to know that her and Dina kissed, but
Yeah.
I I kind of wish that they had changed up from the game, where he's very just nonchalant about it, like, I don't give a shit.
It's weird. Yeah.
No, if you broke up with your girlfriend a week ago, you'd be pretty pissed if she's out there making out with someone.
Yeah.
Like, and
Exactly.
because at the dance, they're kind of like, he walks up to her and they're both kind of leaning there, like watching her make a fool of herself. And he seemed like he was still into her. So the fact that the next day he's like, I don't care. It's like, really? You
Yeah.
should be.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Did you notice the one thing they changed is that they flipped it? Like they flipped the camera. Like if you play the game, they're on opposite sides of the camera.
Oh, really?
So this
I
time
didn't know that.
Ellie was on the left, I think, and he was on the right or the other way around. And in the game, it's the other way around, which is really weird. I don't know why they
Oh.
did that, but it works.
Yeah, I wonder if that's some artistic expression or something. I don't know. But yeah, so, and then the other thing they changed is, so they're walking to go do their thing, and she says, I want to do it with Joel, and he says she's doing it with Dina, which in the
Yes,
game, isn't he out with Tommy?
he is. Yeah, which is
Yeah, so we get because also in the first episode they did the supermarket thing, which normally it's during this, isn't it?
Yes,
When her and
it
Dina
is.
go out to find them. Yeah. So I don't know, that I guess it worked for the show, but I wonder why they changed that up. Like, did they want to just introduce the stalker in the first episode, and they swapped it out, or
What really do we can we spoil things from later in the episode or not?
Yeah.
Because what I don't get is if they did this, which is fine, it's a really cool dynamic for if you haven't played the game, of course, because he's not with Tommy there. But then why did they put Dina to sleep? Because like she doesn't see what's going on, so it's really pointless that she's there with Joel when it happens.
Yeah, and the fact that she wakes up and she like remembers everyone's name, and like I'm like, I feel like if you got drugged, you kind of would have been out of it a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of missing an emotional beat, because when Tommy was there, you could feel like his anger and stuff, because they beat him too. They beat Tommy too in that scene. Like they beat him unconscious, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So that was weird. Like, it felt like Dina shouldn't have been there. Kind of like I feel like they did that so like they couldn't change the plot too much or something.
Yeah.
Like, so it doesn't matter who's with Joel, just put him out of commission. Like,
well, and also because they needed Tommy and Jackson, of course, for what happened there, because that also is not in the game.
Oh yeah, that's true. Tommy did need to be in town for the zombie swarm that comes later, but we'll get to that in a little bit. So yeah, they go and Ellie's being mopey teenage Ellie, which is so the only thing, I said this last week, and it's the only thing that I really still like, or the difference that they like, even though I don't like Bella Ramsey as Ellie. I like that she still has her bit of sarcasm. In the game, she was just mopey and straight faced the entire game. Like, even before Joel, kicked the bucket, she was still just like the mopey teenager. And I'm like, you don't go from being that like super sarcastic teenager to 5 years later, you're just like, I don't like it. So I like that they've kept the sarcasm with her. I really hope it sticks along with the rest of the season. Like, obviously she's going to be angrier after what happened to Joel, but I really do hope she keeps that bit of sarcasm, because honestly, it might be my biggest criticism of the second game, is that she just wasn't Ellie anymore.
No, that's a great point. I never thought about it that way, but that's actually a great point. I mean, I guess it makes sense that in the game that after it happens, she is like that, but you're right. She also was kind of mopey before that. I just saw it that, well, we kind of find out later why that is, right? Because she was fighting with Joel, and then so it kind of makes sense. But you're right. This version, I don't like Bella Ramsey at all, but this version is better.
Yeah, well, because the thing is like in the second game, Dina basically becomes the Ellie, but she's just not as good as it, in my opinion. But
true. Yeah.
But like in the first game, all these horrible things happen. Like when she has to kill the guy to save Joel, but she goes right back to being sarcastic after it. Like she's not like angry the whole time. It's like he still trusts her, and she still goes back to like anytime there's like a moment of levity, let's hear a pun kind of thing. Like she always had her optimism, and in this she's just like, or in the second game she was always just sad.
That's true. Yeah.
So like, because I feel like even if the worst thing happened to me, I'm a fairly positive person. I feel like I'd still be able to crack jokes here and there. Like anytime I'm going through a hard time, I can always still crack a joke of like, that's my luck kind of thing. Like I can always crack that joke. So I feel like someone who's way more sarcastic than me would still have her moments of sarcasm.
Sure. No, that's fair. Well, it's that's fair. It's also like a couple of years later, so maybe she has changed. We don't really know what happened in those years, but you're right. It is kind of weird that they just scrapped her personality in the second game. I never really thought about it until now, but you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. So then they're walking to do their thing, but then Jesse says, why do I always forget her name? Tommy's wife.
Maria? Or
Maria. Yeah. So he says Maria wants to see you, and he's like, "What for?" He goes, "I don't know." And so they go over there, and Tommy's up there giving a lesson on, very conveniently, what happens if zombies hit the town.
Great scene, no, great speech, but very convenient. Yeah.
Well, because the thing that made me laugh about it was it felt very real, because Tommy is up there. And he asks the girl, like, what do you do? And she goes, run in the forest. He goes, don't do that. Like he has that moment of like, don't do that. But then he goes, and someone shot themselves in the leg, and I was like, Earl. And he's like, yeah, don't be Earl. Like it felt like what a actual meeting would feel like. It's not just a guy up there giving his monologue and then the scene ends. Like it felt like a very interactive, and which I think that obviously that that's the genius of Craig Mazin. He's such a good writer. So
Yeah. Yeah, it felt
being able to
like all
write
those
that.
people knew each other. Like it was like you said,
Yeah,
like it was real. Like they knew each other. Yeah.
yeah, it was so that was a great scene, and having Tommy kind of, it's also nice having Tommy have his like moment of like leadership, even though he's
Yeah.
about to lose his mind. So yeah, I really like that. And then after we get to the thank God they did not use the bigot sandwich line. I was going to lose my fucking mind if she said these are bigot sandwiches. I was going to be so angry. But it was basically, other than that, and this is another moment where we got the Ellie sarcasm where she goes, yeah, a lot of people drink and they say something they've never thought before. Like,
Yeah.
that was such a great line and such great delivery, because she's so like stoic about it, but it was just that great sarcasm. And yeah, what do you think about that little
Yeah, that
scene
was
right
great.
there?
I'm really surprised they didn't kill the the bigot sandwich guy. I thought he was going to be one of those people that would definitely get like a beautiful close up when they rip off his head or something. But yeah,
Yeah.
he was
Yeah.
he was never to be seen again, I guess. But no, you're
Yeah.
right. You're right. I thought the speech. I wonder if they're setting up um, Tommy as like being the new Joe in the show, which he wasn't really in the game. In the game, no spoilers for the game, but in the game you play as Ellie, of course, and
Yeah.
Tommy is just in the background. But I wonder if they're maybe setting up a team up here that
Yeah, I
maybe
agree.
Tommy goes with Ellie or something. I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do
I
because
really
Tommy is very prominent.
Yeah, I mean, especially with like the whole Jackson collapse that we're going to get to. Like, I
Yeah,
really am curious as to how they're going to change that part, because obviously we're still
yeah,
probably going to get the same revenge story from
sure,
Ellie and all
yeah,
that. But I'm really curious because because Tommy was very like one note in Last of Us Part
yeah,
Two, so
sure,
I think they will expand it. And the actor who plays him is so good. Like,
fantastic.
he
Yeah,
sounds exactly like how Tommy sounded in the game. Like,
yeah.
it's perfect.
Great casting too. Very likable too. Because I always thought Pedro Pascal did a good job as Joe, but Joe in the movie is very movie. The show is very unlikable to me. While in the game he's very likable, but
Mhm.
here Tommy is extremely likable. Even in that
Yeah,
scene we just talked about, very likable, very realistic, fun guy to be with. Everybody likes him too in the show. So yeah, I
yeah.
wonder, I wonder what they're gonna do with him. It's also well, we'll get to that later. Why he wasn't there, but yeah,
Yeah. And then so they go out on their trip, and it just shows them leaving, and I don't think they said anything. But then we get to uh why am I blank? Abby up
uh,
keeping track, and she's about to head back, and she hears horses neigh, and she's like, "Ooh, who
mm,
is that?"
mm,
And since she's so like bullheaded of, we're gonna capture someone, we're gonna basically torture them. She wants to. They don't want to, obviously,
yeah,
because she said like, what if they don't speak? And she's like, mm. like, well, we'll see. But
exactly,
yeah, so she chases them down the hill, and oh, we forgot, while they were walking, he said like some people were out on a patrol and they found a couple frozen ones, and then a bunch of them were underneath.
yeah,
And this was kind of, it was a cool idea of like, there's frozen ones but they're still connected, so under the ground obviously it's a little warmer, so it can stay alive and they can you come out of it. But to me, a lot of this felt like, in the first season they introduced new lore of where they can like sense each other through the
yeah.
roots or whatever. And I feel like after that episode where they did that, they've just forgot to do it again.
Yeah.
And so this season they're like, oh shit, we need to do that again. So like, I feel like that's kind of where this birthed, of just like, oh shit, we need to have them connect to the roots again.
Well,
So
there were also so many of them. Like if I would have
yeah.
understood it if it was like a couple of dozen, but there were like it looked like hundreds of them.
Yeah, it was like,
Like
yeah, it was a days gone
yeah,
swarm of
yeah,
yeah.
and then to be completely undiscovered for however long there in Jackson seemed a bit weird, but that
Yeah.
doesn't matter. Like, suspicion of disbelief, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, she starts running down the hill to go get them, and then they're all preparing on the wall, and just it's just showing basic, which it felt weird because it did feel like it was just for the plot to move forward of why they're doing, like, we're gonna do
Yeah,
the what to do if there's a swarm, we're gonna prepare at the wall. Like, it all felt like you're just
too
you're
convenient.
yeah, you're like kind of spoon feeding us that, hey, something's gonna happen at the wall. Like,
Yeah,
it should have just been another run of the mill thing. Like, we shouldn't be sitting there like, oh, they're talking about what happens if there's a swarm. Ooh, they're at the wall preparing. Like, It should,
Yeah,
especially when they like. It'd be one thing if they're like the White Walkers are on their way and they're they're going to be here soon. But like the
exactly.
fact
Yeah.
that they have no idea that a swarm's coming, it felt little off to me.
Yeah, I don't really know. Well, maybe we'll find out later. I don't really know why they did this, unless we get back to Jackson a couple of times. But we'll see, I guess.
Yeah, because that's the thing is, I said this in the first episode. I like that they're making Jackson feel more alive in the show than
Yeah,
they did it
that's cool.
because it was just kind of where they were in the game as
Yeah,
opposed to like a place they lived. And so I really like that they are expanding on Jackson. So I do hope
sure.
that there is like scenes in Jackson while they're in Seattle, kind of thing.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they have to because they showed this. They have to rebuild from what just happened. So it's like I feel like they have to do something.
Yeah.
For
I
that.
also think Tommy's wife is a great actress. She was in True Blood, I think, too.
Oh, was she?
Yeah, she's a great actress. What's her name? Maria. Yeah, I don't know her real name, but she was great. I love her.
Maria is her name is Rutina Wesley.
Oh yeah. Well, she's awesome. She's awesome. I really liked her.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, she's very, very good. And so next we get to a storm starts, kicking up, and they tell everyone to take cover. So this is when we get, instead of the Dina Ellie love fest in the pot shop or whatever, it's just Jesse and Ellie there, and she's like, "I'm gonna steal all this weed," and he's like, "No, you're not." But I do like that we also get the little bit of foreshadowing. Not really foreshadowing, but the hint of she finds Eugene's firefly pendant and she's like, "Oh, he was a firefly," because now then she starts feeling that regret of like what happened to the fireflies of like when Joel, like she knew Joel lied to her, and obviously we'll learn more about that down the road, which we don't want to spoil. But
that's also, I think we found that out last week, right? That Joel killed Eugene or had to kill Eugene for some reason. Which is really cool because in the game, Eugene's dead, but you don't know why. Like he's like a non-character in the game, but here
I think
he has like a reason.
Yeah, I wonder if I think it was like a stroke or something someone said in the game. Like
you're right.
Think, so we get that little bit of extra Eugene, and she's feeling bad because the fireflies are no more, kind of thing. And I don't remember. Did anything else really happen in that scene? I know she did the joke of like, "I know you're going to be in charge one day, but you're not now."
It was weird because, like you said, normally we're used that she's there with Dina, and that's a pretty big plot point because that's where they come together for the first time. Let's say, but that doesn't happen here.
Expands.
Exactly. But that doesn't really happen here. So I wonder. I think it's really cool because it's obviously going in a different direction, and I wonder what direction that is. Is Jesse going to become more prominent? It looks that way right now. That maybe Jesse's the new Dina, maybe, or I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. It's cool.
Yeah, I wonder. We'll find out. But yeah, because he plays a very minor role in the game compared to what he's had so far. But so next we get to Abby is still chasing the horses and she falls, and this is where she finds the frozen, which again, it's kind of like if it was like maybe last episode or just a different way of mentioning it, like the second you see the frozen one, you're like, oh, there's a bunch of them underneath because like they already said it. Like, so there's really no surprise to this. You're just kind of like, all right, when are they going to wake up? Kind of thing. But it was very cool. Like the ground starts shifting beneath her, and I really enjoyed that part of it. But
it looked great.
Yeah, so it did. Where they're all just climbing out of the ground, and so they chase her, and this is very almost 1-to-1 to the game where she goes to this
fence.
The factory, gets under the fence. I remember when the trailer came out and they showed her like under the fence. I was like, oh, they're doing it. That part is so good. But then of course it also spoils. Oh, she's gonna meet Joel, and then we all know what's gonna happen.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I really love that moment. It almost felt like in the game, it never felt really that terrifying. Like, obviously, it was just kind of like, oh my God, there's a bunch of zombies. But they always felt like they're on the other side of the fence. Whereas in this, like, you see one of their hands going through the fence, like it's cutting through because he's so desperate to get through. And one of them does break down and get to her. And
well, it's also in the game, of course, since we're playing as her, we know she's not going to die realistically because you're playing as her in that moment. While here in the show, you don't know what they're changing or what they're going to do. So there's this extra sense of danger, I guess. I mean, I don't think they're going to kill Abby in episode 2, but you never know. You never know what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so then obviously what happens is Joel is the one to find her, which is kind of like I let it slide. I don't really care, but at the same time it is like, oh, what a coincidence. The one person she's trying to find is the one person who finds her.
That's why I thought it was a little bit annoying to me that she already told everyone her plan. Because at this point, if you
Yeah.
didn't know that she was there to find Joel, you wouldn't think about it. It was just cool. It was just
That
like
is true. I will give you that for yeah. So I guess there is really plus and minuses of introducing Abby beforehand, but yeah, I do agree. But then obviously it does the thing of Dina's like, "Hey Joel, what are we doing?" And it's like,
yeah.
oh, because then you see the look on her face of like, "Oh shit, I don't have my gun on me. He's got
Yeah.
his gun. Oh shit, what am I doing?" So
Great acting. She did such a great job there. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Again, I love Caitlin Dever as
Yeah.
Abby in this, and but yeah, Dina. I will say Dina just felt kind of like there just to say Joel's name. Like, I don't,
Literally. Yeah.
yeah, like that's really all she was in these scenes for. But
Yeah.
so yeah, they save her, and she's like, and then that's when her plan comes together of, oh, my friends are right up the hill. We can go see them. Um, but yeah, so they see her, and then we cut to it's just Tommy going into the girl who's on the radio, just saying get everyone home, and not really much to add to that scene unless you got anything with that.
No. Just a lot of foreshadowing to what's about to happen.
Yeah,
And maybe it would have been better if all of this was in episode 1. Like the speech
yeah,
and everything there, because now you like you said, it all happened so fast and it was like very convenient. Everything that happened this episode was
Mhm.
very convenient, but it's a
Yeah.
TV show, so
Yeah, and we'll get to it later on why. Like I told people, I'm like I thought this episode was okay, and it's not for the reason you guys are thinking. So
yeah,
we'll get to it, but
sure,
yes. So it's Jesse and Ellie are just still chilling at Eugene's place, and
yeah,
the radio call of Joel and Gina aren't home yet. Like, can you guys get a hold of them? And that's when Ellie, which I really love because I wonder. We talked about this last week. I don't want to spoil exactly. We didn't spoil what it was, but there's a scene between Joel and Abby that was, or Joel and Ellie that was seemingly cut from the first
hmm
episode. And
yes,
so I'm wondering if they will still find a way to patch that in later
they
because,
have to, yeah,
yeah, because you can tell, like she's even though she's mad at him and all this, you can tell she's very scared for Joel.
yes,
And like, I mean, I guess maybe, and some people said they might be thinking, oh, she's scared for Dina, but no, you can tell she's terrified for Joel and
yeah,
she wants to get out there and help him. So they go and they split their ways and they go searching for him. And then at this point, it cuts to the city. They're just working on those pipes again, and the guy rips out some things and he sees
the cordyceps,
the
yeah,
cordyceps, which this is another thing, like we were saying, it all feels so rushed and so convenient. Like I really thought this was going to be a slow burn, like someone was going to accidentally
yeah,
touch them or something and get infected. I thought it was going to be something like that where it was like a very slow internal thing, but
yeah,
instead they do the thing of the roots have been compromised, now all the swarm heads that way.
yeah.
And that's kind of where I felt like it was very Walking Dead, where I'm just like,
It was,
oh, now
yeah,
we're just getting a swarm of zombies to attack just because we need action, kind of thing. Like it's it's a nice addition because it adds on to what happened in the game, but at the same time, I was like, this just feels like people complain there weren't enough zombies last season, and now we need more zombies.
Well,
Like,
there's also the problem that they didn't establish any characters in Jackson, except for the
yeah,
bigot guy who's not somehow not in this episode.
yeah, yeah,
But there's not really only Tommy and his wife who you know in this episode,
yeah,
so, and they have plot armor. So
exactly. And so everyone else is expendable, and
yeah,
yeah, and yeah, it's just so yeah, we cut to then they're chasing away, and then the swarms are chasing Joel, Abby, and Dina, and they start swerving away.
that looked
And
cool. That
it
was a really cool
it
shot with
yeah
the two
yeah
hordes.
it was really it was funny though. I was watching with my girlfriend, and she goes, "Are they gonna fight?" Like she thought the swarms were going to each other to fight. And I'm like, no, they're going to Jackson where the tendrils are. That line made me laugh. But then we cut to Jackson, and they're the lookout guy is looking out, and he sees the White Walkers start approaching the wall, and then obviously this I really did like though, because it kind of shows how did they defend the town, and they do like
Yes, awesome.
the big drums of gasoline or whatever that they're dumping down.
Yeah,
And so them actually swarming the town, I thought looked cool because it's like
yeah,
it does get to show it, but then it does the thing of like I love the bloaters, but like it became like the thing in Lord of the Rings where he's running with the
yeah.
torch, and it's just
It's
like
Helm's Deep.
yeah, it's
Yes,
Helm's Deep, and he blows up the waterway, and it's just
yeah.
like, oh, really? Like, I guess you have to up the ante by doing it, but like, it should have been a thing of just showing how Jackson defends itself, not in a complete. Because once Helm's Deep is broken, those guys they're screwed. Like the
Yeah.
amount of zombies that were running, it was like there was as many zombies as the plot needed, and so
Yeah.
yeah,
I
it's
almost have you seen Daisy? Because I kind of wish they
yeah.
did it like Daisy, like they would just pile up each other and then just
Yeah,
run up the wall that
they
way.
kind of started doing that, so I actually thought
Yeah,
they were going to do that too,
yeah,
but at the same time, it just felt like I said, it felt very Walking Dead of just like the zombies are only as dangerous as the plot requires. Like that was one of my complaints about the first episode is
sure.
when Dina and Ellie are in the shop. There's two clickers by them, which are like the
Yeah.
deadliest things other than bloaters, but they're sitting there like, like I'm like those things are horrifying, and they're
Yeah.
treating it like it's nothing. They're doing like their little CW interaction, and I was just like, oh man. So then now we have the swarm coming in, suddenly they're the scariest things ever, and
Yeah.
so, yeah, that's
The bloater was really scary though. That
oh dude,
was
yeah,
oh Jesus.
yeah. So it cuts through, and then yeah, they all break through the wall. It's a cool fight scene, and then
Hmm.
the thing I was like, I don't know why. I wonder why they did this where it's like Joel sees the town. It's like, was it like a thing of he either had the choice of saving his town or saving another girl he was with, or like, what
I
was
think
it that made him do that? I wonder.
I think that's exactly it. They wanted to give him the agency to get back. Like as soon as they enter the cabin, he's like, "Okay, we got to go. Get your guns. We're going back to town now."
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So I think that is it. Yeah. So it kind of, she says like, we're only a minute up the hill. Let's go up there. And it cuts back to Jackson and all that stuff is going down. And then the breakthrough happens, and this is one of the most annoying parts of it is, so obviously they're smart enough. They start breaking through windows, getting upstairs to, get the rooftop Koreans to get and killing them all. And, but then of course they all get up there and start killing people. And Maria's just walking through them, like
yeah,
just bobbing and weaving. I'm like,
plot
oh, there's the
armor.
plot
Yeah,
armor. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That felt really like,
It was also wasn't it weird to you that the zombies like ran through the houses upstairs? Like, how did they know those people were on the roof? They're zombies. They don't think. Like
yeah,
somehow they
yeah,
knew like to navigate
yeah.
through the houses to the roofs. Like,
Yeah, they hear noises coming from the roof, but they don't know how to
yeah,
get up through the
yeah,
house. Like,
yeah,
it's one thing if they start charging at the buildings because that's where the sound's coming from. But yeah, they're like,
exactly.
and they didn't lock the doors upstairs.
Yeah.
Like, you guys know you're in town for if they get in town, and you're not protecting yourself. So like, they just open the door basically, and I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And then of course, yeah, so she's like bobbing and weaving, but she's still alive. And then the bloater comes through and Tommy distracts it because he's going for Maria because she's shooting him. And I'm like,
Yeah.
so she's just had her back to the doors that they're already swarming through, and she's just shooting down at the bloater. Like, why would she do that? Like,
Well, Tommy too, because at that moment, Tommy is like surrounded by the swarm, and he's just shooting
yeah,
the bloater. But there, you see zombies running past him at that point.
yeah,
like,
it
infected.
was, yeah, this is my biggest. So what it might be surprised about is that this was actually my biggest gripe of the episode is this
Sure,
whole,
yeah.
like, because honestly, we'll get to it later of what my biggest complaint is. Like, I'm bitching up all this stuff, but my biggest complaint is coming up later. But we do get the cool moment of all the flamethrower dudes are attacking. And then the one thing I do like is that he does lead it away by himself, and you think he's about to die because he's using
Yes.
the flamethrower on him, but it's just enough to finally kill
Yeah.
it. And that does make the bloater super terrifying
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
that sense.
So
And
funny that those. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying, and it's such a cool design. I love the design of the
Yeah.
bloaters.
No, definitely. It was also funny that those two other flamethrower guys just run away.
Yeah.
Like they drop their flamethrowers and just run.
Yeah. And then the next moment, another moment, which I thought was very stupid from this, is I guess animals don't get infected because they release a bunch of dogs to bite everyone.
Yeah, that was weird. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, where did this come from? They've never addressed that they have dogs. Like,
Yeah.
there's just suddenly a room of dogs that they have in
Yeah.
case zombies break in, I guess. Like, what? Like, it just.
Yeah.
It just felt like they're just like, we need to show all the cool ways we can defend ourselves, but
And you also have to shoot zombies in the head, and dogs can't shoot. So you see the dogs like ripping their throats out, but that doesn't stop them, right? Or does it? I don't know.
well, don't the infected just die? Because aren't they still like living humans who are just overtaken?
Oh, I guess maybe, yeah.
Because I feel like
Maybe.
people do die just by like shooting them in the chest, but I guess a headshot is the finishing move. Like, I guess they can keep moving if they're
You're
shot.
right.
So
You're
I
right.
feel like,
I'm thinking of The
yeah,
Walking Dead. You're right. You're right. Yeah.
yeah. Well, what do you expect? Because this episode was a lot like it, but then so we cut to now they get back to the cabin, and I was curious if this was going to happen in this scene. I mean,
Yes.
obviously, just because they were upstairs and it was light out. Because in the game, it was a very dark basement they were in, and I was like, the setting feels different here. So I was curious
Yeah.
if they were actually going to do it, but they did. Because he goes, "I saved your life," and she goes, "What life?" and shoots him right in the leg, and I was like, "Oh, fuck
Yeah.
that's because they even show him like get shot back and his legs give
Yeah.
out, and he just hits the ground. It's like, oh,
Very painful. Yeah.
fuck, yeah. So we get that, and then the whole it's okay, we're just putting her to sleep. I'm like, what?
Weird. Very, very weird choice.
Yeah, like I get it because no one else wants to hurt anyone who's not Joel. So I get why, but at the same time, it's like,
Well, she also tells him in that moment, like, tell us the truth and I won't kill her. But I don't know
yeah,
if she's serious or not, because it's very weird that they put her to sleep. Because why is she there then? Like that doesn't narratively that doesn't make whole lot of sense.
yeah, because it's like, yeah, so somehow she's there terrified of her life for because they go through it and she's like, oh, this is this person, like as if I was that person and I woke up, they're like, who else was there? I'm like, I don't know, some
Yeah.
bald chick and 3 other people. I don't fucking know.
Yeah. Exactly.
Some
Yeah.
assholes. Let's fucking kill them. I don't know.
So the girl from Intergalactic was there.
Yeah, the girl from Intergalactic, some white guy, Mexican, and some Indian girl. I don't fucking know. Like, I don't know. So yeah, they put her to sleep, and then that's when the torture begins, and it gets brutal really quickly. But this though, before she starts actually whacking his wound with the golf club, her delivery of like, that was my dad, she's like crying, and like, it was so
Great.
good. It was I loved her in this scene. It was because again, it's like I said, I guess it's the whole thing of introducing her ahead of time, even though, like we said, there's the plus and minuses, but her delivering those lines, it makes you think like, do I support what she's doing? Like, but
Sure.
the only problem with it, even though I did like the move where she's kind of monologuing and goes, "Oh, just fucking do it already," like, or if you're gonna do it, or whatever he said. Like, as much as I like that line, you'd think she'd be like, your dad was about to kill a girl for no reason, and I wanted to save her, and he was the only thing standing in my way.
Sure.
Like,
Exactly.
you think like, because to them, they think he just came in and slaughtered everyone for no reason. So you think he'd be like, "No, she's my daughter." Like, he would lie. "She's my daughter, and your dad was about to kill her, and that's why I did it." And then maybe she'd have a little bit of hesitation, but instead he's like, "I'll just fucking do it."
Yeah, I think everything that he's ever done, he was getting his comeuppance, and he knew that it was going to happen. So I think he just gave up at that moment. Do you know that? Or of course you do, because you played the game. In the game, it happens a little bit differently. In the game, before she tells her speech, he tells her, like, tell whatever line you have rehearsed and get it over with. While here, he basically tells her in the middle of her speech, just shut up and get it over with. Shut the fuck up and get it over with, which is pretty badass, of course.
Yeah, I think again with the in the game, she obviously, we'll get to the actual death, but in the game she like bashes his head in, and in this she stabs him. So it's like, legitimately in the game when that happened, I thought like, oh, he beat because again, we don't know why she's there or why
Yeah.
she's doing anything. So I thought maybe he's alive. Maybe she's just beating the shit out of him and he's gonna be fine. But so like literally when it cuts to later in the game, she's sitting at his grave. I'm like, oh my God, he's actually dead. Like, and it just felt so much like more draining for me. Whereas in this, I guess, I don't know, it might also just be because I knew it was coming. So, but I'm sitting there when it happened, I was just like, oh, well, he's dead.
It happens in a less more organic way. In the game, it felt way more organic because she keeps clubbing him to death, and then at the end when Ellie enters, they yell like, "Just get it over with, just do it," and she clubs him one more time. But here, for some reason, she gets like the shaft of the golf club and stabs him in the neck pretty slowly. It was pretty. I don't know why they changed that again. It's like a weird little change that I don't get why, because it doesn't really enhance it.
I wonder if it was just honestly. Here's what I could obviously I can be wrong. I don't know shit, but the thing I think is why is because in The Walking Dead, when Negan crushed someone's skull with a baseball bat, everyone stopped watching.
Very good point. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, so I think they didn't want to show Pedro Pascal's skull get crushed in. Well, I mean, it got crushed in Game of Thrones, but
true.
But I really do think that they didn't want to show like the most brutal death to a beloved character. Because
that's a very good point. Yeah.
Because I really do wonder. I said this to my girlfriend when it ended. I go, I wonder how many people are going to stop watching the show after this episode. Because honestly, that Negan, it killed that show.
It did,
like,
yeah.
I only watched like 3 episodes of the next season. I was like, I can't fucking stand this show anymore. And I stopped watching. Like
most people did, yeah.
Yeah, it killed that show. I hope that it's more of a Game of Thrones moment of like, I can't believe that happened. What's going to happen next? Or if it really is going to be like, I was watching this because I love Pedro Pascal, and
that's one of the reasons why I think they prepped up Tommy so much this episode, because Tommy really was the hero this episode, and he was like kind of the Joel this episode. So I think maybe they're hoping, and I think it's working actually too, that they're hoping that people will latch on to Tommy now.
Yeah. I think so too. So then obviously she kills him, and Ellie had shown up and gets tackled down. And this is another moment. There was only one moment in season 1 where I was like, Bella Ramsey might actually be a good actress. And it was when, Henry, I think Henry or Sam, I can't remember his older brother, when he kills himself off camera and you just hear go like, and like one tear comes down her cheek. I was like, oh, damn, that was really good acting. Holy shit. And so this is actually another moment, even though I think Ashley Johnson is way fucking better as Ellie. She does a very good job of like just being mortified as to what's happening. And she does I'm going to kill you. And she did a very good job.
She did.
Even though when she cries, she looks like a newborn baby.
With fetal syndrome. But yeah, you're right.
But so this is kind of where the episode lost me a little bit. Is they kill her or kill him, they leave, and she crawls over and she's on his body. Like, it's all a very powerful scene. And the camera pans up with Ashley Johnson singing that song. And it's a very, very beautiful moment.
Yeah.
But the episode's not over. Then we see them walking away like we got the job done. And then it cuts back to Jackson. I'm like, this should all be next episode. This episode should be ending with her crying over his body. Like, oh no, you go.
Well, I think it should have ended like in the game, like kick her in the face, boom, credits. Like
that's what I thought was going to happen. I thought they were going to knock her unconscious but I guess it does make sense to have her react to his body because she just lost her dad basically. But it cuts away, and this is, like I said, my biggest gripe, because I think the Jackson stuff could have worked in maybe a different episode under different circumstances, but to me it felt like they used this huge action set piece which takes away from this crucial moment in the game. And it felt so distracting from it. Like, we have this horrifying death by a character you love, and then it just comes back and he's like, there's a swarm of zombies. It's just like, no, we need to stay on the other stuff a little longer. We can't, I don't care about Jackson right now. Our lead character just died.
Yeah, you literally also see them drag his body through the snow with on horseback while they're on
Yeah.
horseback. So Dina has woken up at some point. We didn't see. So again, why was she there? If they skip through that whole phase where she wakes up and Ellie and Dina talk.
Yeah. And obviously in the next episode, well, the thing is like, they show, I don't know if you watched the like next time on Dragon Ball
Yeah,
Z thing, like
of course.
they showed her like waking up and crying, and it's like, but you weren't knocked unconscious. Why are you waking up freaking out? Like, so, because that's why I thought like, oh, they'll kick her in the face and she'll wake up later and Dina's gonna say, here's what happened and
Yeah.
I love you. And so yeah, it just, I like, again, I had no problem with this moment in the game. I thought it was a very bold move to happen in the game, especially
Definitely.
when all the marketing was around Ellie and Abby. We're like, is it going to be about them, not Joel? And so everyone kind of had a feeling it was going to happen, but no one actually knew. Yeah. And I avoided the leaks, thankfully. So that had nothing to do with my dislike of anything in that game. But again, like I said, it was pacing mostly. But
Sure.
But yeah, I was like, this should have left me stunned. Like so many moments in Game of Thrones where the credits roll and you're just like,
what just happened? Yeah.
Like, but instead it's just like, obviously I'm sure many people were stunned, like, holy, what? Just like with this.
Well, I wonder if that's the case. Because when you look online or like on Twitter and you see people who didn't play the game or didn't know the game, nobody's really shocked. They're more like, not annoyed, but they're more like, oh, I'm so sad this happened. But this should be like a, oh my God moment. This is like a red wedding moment. And it doesn't seem to be that way, really.
Which is the other reason why I think it might not lose the audience like it did with Walking Dead, because I don't know, that might be a bad thing though, is the fact that no one cares that much that they're like, I'm done. Like there should be moments that are so bad that people are like, I can't do this anymore. Like it's too much. But the fact that it happens and then we get, 2 more minutes of, I mean, obviously they want to do the little montage of the sad music happening, but again, it's like they fought this army of zombies and then apparently they just won and they were fine. Like it didn't seem like the population of Jackson was in line with the population of the amount of zombies that charged the city. So it just felt kind of weird of like, it's Tommy's sad and he finds Maria and like, oh, well, thank God we had plot armor. We're good. And everyone else is dying and everything's on fire. But, and then the one thing I did like about the moment of the final shot of them dragging the body was, I like that Ellie was so distraught that she looked back at it. It's like, there's no way he's actually back there, right? Like, that can't be his body. He's not dead. He's like, it was a very well again, not being on Bella Ramsey, but she did well this episode. I will say that.
Well, she's a great actress. It's not that she's a bad actress. She just is not. She doesn't look. Well, you don't have to look like Ellie. She just looks like a little kid. Like she's supposed to be 20 here. That she's not 20 or 19 or whatever age she's supposed to be.
19 years old. And it's the thing. Also, it's like going back to like the first episode. She beat up a guy half her size or twice her size and 3 times her weight. Like, come on, it's not working. But honestly, it makes sense that, I mean, when the first game came out, I fan cast Caitlin Dever as Ellie because I thought she looked just like, because I had seen her in Justified and a couple other things.
She was great in that.
Yeah. And so I always loved that actress. And I was like, she looks just like Ellie. Like she should play her. And then of course they cast Bella but they cast her as Abby. And I was like, what? Like, I feel like they should have I feel like they did just to spite the people who fan cast her as Ellie. Like
it's really weird because you would imagine they did this in Game of Thrones, like in House of the Dragon too, where they had like the first season with like a younger actress, and then in the second season they jumped 10 years and they just picked a different actress. I think they could have gotten away with that here too.
The only problem with that is those actresses kind of look alike, and who are you going to get who kind of looks like Bella Ramsey? Because, like, honestly, again, the other fan cast of just season 2 at Ellie is that girl from Alien Romulus. She looks
exactly like her.
And so she would have been perfect. But then, of course, it would have been such a shock of going from Bella Ramsey to this beautiful actress.
True.
So, it would have been a little weird, but
Yeah, you want to feel bad for her because she's obviously, like you said, she's a great actress. She has scenes where she's awesome, but it's just not the right. She has not the right face for it. Like it's just
Yeah. Well,
it,
and I noticed it hasn't been so much in this season, but I guess actually there have been a couple lines where she sounds like
the
she's kind of
accents.
mumbling through it. Yeah,
Yeah,
it,
the
it must
accents.
be
Yeah,
the British accent sneaking through or
yeah,
something. Like she's
yeah.
struggling to keep her accent back because, yeah, there are some times where she mumbles, and I'm just like, that was your best delivery. Like you guys couldn't take another take. Yeah, like yeah, I'm not saying like every actress needs to be hot or like Dina. She's
No,
super
no,
hot,
of course.
but
Yeah,
yeah, but like she just she got the part because she was the little girl in Game of Thrones that everyone
yeah,
liked. And
of course.
yeah, I don't know, but
I think it so far it's not problematic yet, but I think it will be problematic once she starts taking out like the Salt Lake crew. Because when
yeah,
you have
exactly.
the trailer, well, we're not going to spoil what happens, of course, but in the trailer for this season, with the red lights behind her, you know what happens in that scene. But
Yeah.
her face doesn't really convey that in that trailer. So yeah,
Yeah, she looks like she's trying to that the power went out. She's trying to find the bathroom. Not that she's about
yeah,
to, go on a revenge tour. So
yeah,
it we'll have to see because yeah, I
of
don't see
course,
her
yeah,
as this deadly force. And
no,
though I am so excited. The one thing I am excited about this season is I want them to expand on that cult that
yes, the
I
Seraphites,
yeah,
yeah,
the Seraphites. I am so because that was another part I thought was so cool in the
yeah,
game. Like I
amazing.
loved all that. So I wonder if they're even gonna get to it this year or this season. Because did they even like mention anyone being cast as Lev or anything? Because
No, and it's only 7 episodes too, and we're already basically halfway done.
yeah,
You
so
you know
she
the you already know that the next episode is going to be them grieving about Joe and discussing what they're going to do.
yeah, so
So
they probably won't get to Seattle till episode 4. And that my other thought when I was driving home from work and I was thinking about this, I was like, I wonder if they're gonna have any. I hope they don't, but like have any filler episodes where they're like in the middle of the country, like they're not, or I guess
mm,
they're not. I guess Wyoming isn't that far from Seattle, but are they going to be up in I don't know Idaho or whatever? Like,
yeah,
or because I kind of like I want them just to cut to them being in Seattle, but at
yeah,
the same time, it's like, do they get there that easily? Like, I don't know, but I don't think
yeah.
they can afford to have the filler of them getting to Seattle.
Not with 7 episodes, so I don't think they can do a Bill episode this season. That would be
Yeah,
really jarring and weird. Um, that
yeah,
happened last season. That happened because they still had to establish themselves, I think. But you can't do that twice. You can't do that again,
yeah,
I think.
yeah. And as everyone knows, I thought the Bill episode was a huge mistake. So,
Me
not
too.
because
Yeah.
I just he was done so much better in the game.
Yeah,
It was just
yeah,
so
I
much
agree.
better.
I agree. Way different.
And
What they could do, maybe that's what's going to happen now is that we get a Tommy episode or something like a
yeah, and because that's the thing is in the game, you just kind of see the aftermath of Tommy being in places,
yeah,
and again, not wanting to spoil anything, but I do wonder if we will see Tommy doing what he's doing in Seattle, which
yeah,
I hope we do because obviously, like I said,
yeah,
I love the actor who's playing Tommy, and he's doing
yeah.
such a good job. So
Great.
I do
He's
want
the
I want more.
you know this, of course, but he's like the brother of the guy from Andor. They're
Oh, is
brothers
he?
in real. Yeah, yeah, they're brothers in real life, which is
Oh,
really
that's
funny.
that's cool. Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
one
I,
is
I
the
never I never finished Andor, but I do
mm.
like the guy who plays him. He's a good actor, but
Yeah, that starts tomorrow. So they're like competing. Well, not competing. They're both on like the biggest shows at the moment, which is really funny.
yeah, I'm really curious if they're gonna be able to hold up or live up to that first season because I feel like it's kind of one of those things of like I don't trust Disney with anything anymore, and so I feel like they would just throw a bunch of shit at the wall and one of them stuck. So they're like, oh, gotta replicate it, keep replicating it. And it's like you might, we'll see, but
The only good thing or the only good thing, the thing that gives me hope is that it's the final season. So
oh,
they're
okay.
not going to make a third one. They can't because it's a prequel, and after this, it's Rogue One, and then well, you know what
Yeah, you
happens
only
there.
have, you
So
only have so much time when it's a prequel. Yeah, that's for sure.
exactly. So I'm hopeful they get to end it. But
Yeah.
same thing with The Last of Us too, because we're in season 2 now. Then you would assume that next year or in 2 years we'll get season 2.B. But then what happens afterwards? If we don't have the third game, are they just gonna figure it out or make it up, or what's gonna happen?
Yeah, that's the thing. I wonder, like, I mean, if they were smart, they would completely scrap the Uncharted movie and just do a show.
Yeah,
Uh, but yeah, like, because I mean, didn't they just come out? Didn't Neil Druckmann just come out and say like don't keep your hopes up for part 3 or something like that. Like almost
he did.
confirming it's not a thing.
He also said that about part 2 though, so you'll never know with these developers. They're always lying, of course. They're like keeping things a secret, but I think people would get upset if the show if the show gets there before the game. Look at what happened to Game of Thrones.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh, those final 2 seasons make me want to kill myself. But well, honestly, also even if they're like legit, if there is no part 3 game, people are not going to be happy if the game ends that way. Like or the show, if the show ends that way. Like
no,
that,
they're not.
like it is a fairly powerful ending, even though I'm not. I have my critiques of the ending, but of the very ending, it's a great ending for a game. I don't know if that's a great ending for a show though.
No, people. It's such a cliche, but it's true. People want happy endings, even though they say they don't, and they want the tragic ending. For a TV show, they want a happy ending. So
not an unended ending.
Yeah, even for the game, I thought it was a great ending for the game, but also because there's going to be a third game. Because I think if this was it, I would also be like, it's really cool, but how do you end it? What happens to Abby? Where
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, overall, I thought it was a good episode. It wasn't as good as I was hoping it would be, because I really did think that they would this is the episode they had to nail, in my opinion. So the fact that they kind of fumbled it makes me not super happy, but it wasn't bad. I definitely won't say it's bad, but
no, it's high, definitely high quality. The way it shot, the music, the song at the end, perfect song at the end, beautiful, great acting too. But I share the same sentiment. I don't know if that's because we played the game or not. It's very mind-boggling to me that so many people. I don't know anyone who hasn't played the games and then watched the show. So I want to know what those people think too.
Yeah, but it's really because the whole Joel dying thing obviously is one, but it's just really, like I said, the attack on Jackson takes away from it. Like you're distracting us from a huge emotional moment, and so it didn't land that for me. But I mean, how Joel or Pedro Pascal acted it all out, and obviously it was all great. But as an episode, it just, I don't know, it didn't. I'm very curious because Sean is obviously, he loves the game like you do, so I'm very curious as to what he thinks about this episode, and I'll hopefully they'll be back next week, and obviously you are always welcome to join us for these also. But
thank you. Well, whenever you need someone, I'll be around at some point.
Next week, we'll let you know. I didn't tell them you were on, so I told them, I was like, we're gonna have a guest, and you were gonna love it. So
they're gonna get very pissed.
Let that guy on again. But I don't know if you have anything else to say about either of the episodes or.
No, I like what they're doing. I don't love what they're doing, and I think that's a shame because, like you said, I love both games. I love The Last of Us 2. I do think it's a masterpiece, and it annoys me that I like the game more than the show because I think the show has so much potential. But I think, like you also said, when they deviated from the game in the show in season 1, like when they made that Bill episode, I thought Bill in the game was way better than Bill in the show. Yeah. So I'm scared they're going to do something like that again. Which I hope they don't. So I'm very curious to see where it'll go. But I think the show is really great, really good. Not great, but really good. Like a solid 7.5, 8 out of 10.
I am excited, though, with the show is that they did say they are bringing back the spores again. They didn't do it in the first season because, I don't know, I guess they said they didn't want it to be like everyone's constantly worried about breathing or something. I don't know what it was, but they didn't do it in the first season. But they did say they're bringing back the spores for this season. So I'm very curious. I mean, obviously it's going to be the big moment of Ellie breathing something in, which I obviously don't want to spoil anything else, but obviously Ellie's immune. She can breathe in the spores. In the first game she could, so it's not a spoiler really, but so she's going to breathe in the spores and that's going to give away some stuff. But so I'm excited. I am excited to watch this show because, like I said, I really want this show to give me a renewed love of what the story of the second game was. Because again, like a story of revenge and a story and Joel dying, like that none of that was anything I had any problem with. I like, and of course there's, you know, the dumb shit woke people on anti-woke people on the internet who are just like, oh, there's a tranny, you can't have like shut up. Like, even though like obviously in the post-apocalypse you're not gonna be worrying about pronouns, but the reason why this character, who I don't want to spoil things, obviously, the reason why she's trans is a cool concept as to why
it was really well done.
It's not a gender dysphoria social contagion. It's like, I don't want to do what they want me to do, like,
exactly.
kind of thing. And so it was really well done, and I am excited for that. So, which is the other thing of like, when I say I don't like this game as much as other people, they always assume it's like it's because of the tranny. I'm like, no, it's not that. It's the pacing of the game and other shit. So, yeah, but I don't know. So I'm excited to see. I want this show to reinvigorate my
awesome.
adoration of this series, because again, the first game is a masterpiece. I overall really liked the first season, and I've liked what they've done with the second season with, you know, obviously other than a couple minor whatever dislikes, but
sure. Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, that's all I got for this episode, or DLC number 13 of Games Over Plastic. If anyone has any comments about the thing, if we missed anything you want to talk about or anything, please leave a comment. Let us know what you thought about the episode. I really am curious, not just to read comments on the podcast and inflate my own ego. I'm very curious as to what other people are thinking about this show, and if you haven't played the games, I'm very curious as to, did that golfing moment, speaking of which, I'm wearing a golfing hat, did that golf moment do for you what the Red Wedding did for us back in Game of Thrones? And I'm very curious about that and what everyone thinks about this. So again, thank you, Locke, for joining me this week. I did not want to do this episode alone because I doubt I can podcast alone.
Oh, you could definitely pull it off. But thank you for having me. It was fun. I always love talking with you about anything. So it was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Yeah, we always love having you on the show, so we always appreciate that. But until next week's episode, I will say, for Locke and me, thank you, and I love you, and work on your golf swing. Bye.